Let's bring in Mr. Hall of Fame boxing promoter Frank Warren.
Dave.
How are we?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
I'm good. We are press conference day for Mr.
Yep.
Joe Joyce, Christian Hammer Saturday night. Tee it up for us.
Well, look, it's fights. Joe's been out for quite a while now with a broken wrist, and this basically was a fight that we made based upon he was fighting Parker in September because Parker couldn't fight on the 2nd because Andy Lee's wife was having a baby. So
Apparently today.
Well, good luck to him. I hope that all goes safe and well for them. So we got Christian Hamilton, who's a tough competitor. He comes to fight, and Joe's coming off, as I say, he's got that broken wrist. So I'm hoping he comes through the fight well. He'll come to fight, and he would give him a fight, Hammer. And Joe's going to have to be at his best, but he looks in tremendous condition. He's been training in LA, and I wanted to make a statement on Saturday, over there, on Saturday, and hopefully he'll do so. He's number one in the WBO. It's really exciting times for the heavyweight division. You've got on the 20th of August in Saudi the rematch between Usyk and AJ. So once that's over with, then there are going to be some interesting situations happening. And, you know, we're in a position where, obviously, Tyson's WBC champion. He may decide he wants to fight on and a unification, who knows. And then you've got Joe, number one WBO, and you've got Daniel, number one WBA. So all roads lead to Queensberry to make these fights happen with the winner.
In terms of Joseph Parker, the man that Joyce thought he was going to fight as he got on that plane to go to Vegas, a lot's happened, a lot's been said, offers have been made, some, you know, we said it was face-saving. What's your thoughts on that fight now? Is it possible for September 24th to Joe Joyce and Joe Parker?
So yesterday, Joe sent me a text. And I've read the previous ones out, I from why he pulled out. And I got this yesterday. Frank, how are you? Hope all is well. Can we still make the fight happen? Not, I've just sent back, not on Sky we can't. What about both networks? I don't know what planet they're on. I mean, you know, this is ridiculous. Joe's number one. You already agreed the contracts and you decided to go elsewhere. And obviously it don't look like they've delivered for you at the moment. And he said, let's find a way to make it happen, the usual nonsense. And I just said to him, you got the contract that we sent. It's on the desk. Contract I sent you. We all agreed that, and the bottom line of it is, it will be on BT. And if the contract isn't on my desk by today, then forget it. Let them go. I mean, you know, he's the replacement for Sky for AJ. Good luck.
I mean, look, we know fighters fight, right? We know Joseph Parker has boxed some of the best in the world. He's a fighting man. Do you think this is a case of he's been badly advised?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you'll soon find out what's been delivered. He agreed the contract with us. It says in the first text he sent me when I found out they pulled this stroke, he said, agreed the deal. The deal's done. So it was a done deal. Money, all terms, everything was agreed. But simultaneously, obviously, they were negotiating with Sky. And cut a long story short, we all know what happened. Now I've got to deliver for my man. I will. What they'll forget, you know, Joe Parker's not the ranked number one. He's not the mandatory. Joe Joyce is. This is the Joe Joyce business. You want to get that spot, you've got to beat Joe Joyce. So that's it. That's where we are. Joe Parker. You know, that ship's sailed now, and we're not knocking ourselves out. And I'm hoping, you know, if Joe does do what he does, do what I hope he can do on Saturday, then we'll be out again in September in a big fight.
Well, look, he's clearly getting the backing. We've seen, obviously, he's in those positions. Queensberry backed, BT Sport have invested this money in the advert.
That advert they did. I mean, he had more exposure, I think, than any boxer. You could imagine he was in Champions League, the Europa finals, the Champions League final. He was all over the place, you know, and that's it. Everyone's got behind him, and that's what we said we would do, and that's what we've done. You know, people keep saying, you know, from my perspective, you wanted Dubois to win. No, I wanted the best man to win, and in the meantime, you know, Daniel's come back and he's in the number one spot. That's what we do. We get behind our guys and work hard for them, and we've worked very hard for them. And the way forward now is now for Joe to do the business on Saturday, and then we then all the fun's going to begin once that fight's out the way on the 20th. It's going to be quite interesting because the governing bodies are going to have to call for mandatory defence of their respective titles.
Just on that one quickly, on the August 20th Saudi Arabia fight, how do you see Anthony Joshua and Usyk playing out?
I know he's got this new trainer, and he obviously feels confident. He's blaming his corner for the advice they give him in the last fight, which you could hear the corner, and some of them were telling him he's in front, which I don't know what fight they were watching. But the bottom line of all of it is that he's not fighting. It's not Andy Ruiz. It's not the guy who went and trained for the second fight in his fridge. He's a guy who's a consummate professional, and he can box. And I thought he boxed to orders in that fight. I may be wrong, you never know, but I thought he boxed to orders. He weren't looking for a knockout. He knows he can hurt him. He had him going certainly in the last round. And I think it's going to be I think this time round it's going to be I just fancy Usyk. The more I think about it, the more I fancy him.
So those phone calls.
I hope AJ wins. I do hope he wins. I mean, this is Britain. We want the Brits to fight each other. That's what we want.
Well, even Tyson Fury put out a kind of surprising message yesterday across his social media saying, "Hey, lay off AJ. He's doing just fine. He's made it." Did that surprise you when you saw that?
Yeah, that's tight. Tyson's probably. We're all on the same page. What we like to see happen.
And how is he? How is Tyson? I mean, we did that interview a couple of weeks back now. He's done a few since. You sort of don't know what to pick up and what to take. What's the very latest from the last you spoke to him?
I spoke to him, I think yesterday morning. He's all right. He's all good. He's doing his tour. Very successful. I mean, it's a sellout. Everywhere he goes, he's packing them in.
That's what he does.
I know he does. He's an entertainer. That's what he is. He's a charismatic character. That is what he is. He's a very entertaining guy, and the public love him. So he's doing his tour, and he was very happy. And we discussed a couple of things which we will talk about if they all work out very soon. We've been working for a little while, chatting about a few things, and hopefully might have some interesting news.
Well, I'm going to bring in the big man, Mr. Joe Joyce.
There's the big man.
If you jump in, let's keep you both in, Joe. Yeah, you get in the middle. Jesus, size of you. How you doing?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Christian Hammer, Saturday night. I mean, it's not the man you wanted to fight, but it's the man that you're going to have to fight. He's very durable. It might be a long night. What do you think?
Yeah, he's got a good chin, and it's a good test, and good to get me back in there. And I think it's gonna be an exciting fight. He likes swinging them over. He's tough and he's game, and he could do the round. So it's a perfect fight to get me back in there and practice for some of these bigger fights that's incoming.
Look, this is going to be the press conference today, right? I've seen the advert. We've all seen the advert. Frank's seen the advert. We're expecting some big things from you today, Joe. I'm expecting Dunderhead and all sorts. So what you got lined up?
Yeah, and thanks to BT for giving me that advert. That was really great. I enjoyed doing that as well. I'll have to think of some of them dishes and bring that out.
Frank, what does Joe need to be wary of on Saturday night? Christian Hammer.
Complacency. And listen, it happens. I mean, everyone thought Tyson against Wallach was going to be a stroll in the park. He got badly cut, and there were times in the fight you was worried whether the referee may have stopped the fight because of the cut. Anything can happen with these big guys. They're big men and they're throwing bombs. And as Joe said, he's got a good chin, so Joe's got to be at his best. And you only got to look at him. I mean, he looks in tremendous shape and condition, and we've been talking in there just now, and I know he's mentally on it, so he's got to be, he's just got to go out and make a statement, do the business, and then we can move forward.
Let's talk about Joseph Parker. Now, as you boarded that plane for Vegas, you thought you were going to fight Joseph Parker when you came back. That's no longer happening. You've put out statements. You've said, September 24th, I'm fighting. Are you going to be in the other corner? What do you expect to happen here?
Well, let's see what happens. It's important to have a goal. Like when you go out, especially to Vegas or a training camp, to know who you're fighting. So I had in my mind that I'm fighting Joseph Parker, and all the techniques and stuff were geared around that. And it's a bit unfortunate that it's happened like this. That he's signed with a rival promoter. I mean, not promoter. TV station. Made it more complicated because the fight was there. It was signed and agreed, and so it could still happen, but it's a great fight, and hopefully
he's the number one. You go and look at the race. He's the mandatory challenger. We're not in the Joe Parker business. For us, he's an opponent. He's not the main event. He's the main event. Who cares? If he don't want to fight, we move on. There's other guys there to fight, and that's what happened. He's sitting around. His life don't depend on Joseph Parker. Do me a favour.
I understand, like, Frank's pulled up a couple of text messages with Parker, and this will be the last thing on Parker. I understand you and him have been doing a bit of texting or DMing. What's been going on?
Yeah, it's been quite funny actually. Like putting the old duck quotes and stuff, and he even like stitched himself up with that Farmer song. Yeah, it's all good fun, but yeah, it's an interesting fight. I think everyone wants to see it, so it's just a shame that he's made things more complicated for himself. When I'm giving him the shot, basically, I'm number one.
That's right. You can be too smart, and then you can be three smart.
Joe, you are a nightmare to fight. For any heavyweight in the world, you're a nightmare, right? Is there any temptation? This might sound like a stupid question. Frank might slap me, all right? Probably won't. But
Hopefully he does.
Is there any temptation to just maybe look a bit bad on Saturday?
No, I prefer.
He's going to go out there and do the business. Look bad.
No. Yeah, I mean.
Look, the reason I ask is, right, so Usyk didn't look his best against Derek Chisora. Got himself the Anthony Joshua fight. Fighters have done this in the past.
He didn't do that. He fought as he fought. He'd come up from Division Usyk, but then it's a different thing altogether. He's fighting for a world title. Of course, it's a totally different experience for him. Done what he had to do, and he showed what he had. I mean, listen, everyone knows Joe's got massive. He's not some secret weapon. He's hidden from sight. I mean, he's done everything as an amateur. Got robbed in the Olympic finals. Should have got the gold medal. And he's undefeated. But by the way, he's only had 13 pro fights. People forget that. All the guys we're talking about have had like 25, 30 fights as pros. He's had 13 fights, and he's the mandatory, as I keep banging on about. So he's done brilliantly. And all he's got to do on Saturday is go out there and just do a job, and that's what he'll do.
There's no secret plans on looking bad then, Joe? You're gonna look good Saturday night?
Yeah, I'm going to put on a good display, and it's going to be a tough fight while it lasts. I mean, let's see how it goes, and I'm not going to aim to look bad, but it's an exciting fight. It's going to both big heavyweights throwing big heavy punches. Yeah, so it's going to be exciting while it lasts, and but it could go the distance because he's. Hammer's a tough guy, and he's hung in there with some of the best. So
he just went the distance with Frank Sanchez, the undefeated Cuban. He's ranked number 3 in the world. He went the distance with him. You know, and he is what he is. He's a good, tough old pro. He's a tough guy who's fought a good quality level. You know, for his 13th fight, it's a really good fight for him. You know, considering it's supposed to have been Parker. So we are where we are. So we just got to get on with it, and he's got to look good on Saturday. And he'll look good. I know he'll look good.
Joe, you're WBC number 2, you're WBO number 1. I've heard you talking about dragging Tyson Fury out of retirement. Who do you want? Who do you want out there? You must think about it. Look, we're looking over there. There's Wembley Stadium over there. I'm sure you against either of those guys would fill it up. Who do you want?
Yeah, I'm excited for them kind of fights. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Fury, if he wants it. The winner of Joshua Usyk, I'm here. So yeah, there's plenty of good fights at the top, but obviously I'm going to get through Hammer first, and then we'll go back to drawing boards with Frank and BT and get some other fights involved.
You've launched a bit of a verbal assault on the heavyweight division in recent weeks. I've seen you put out some statements. You've targeted obviously Parker. You've gone after Dillian Whyte, saying, "Oh, he loves being a mandatory. Come and come and get the mandatory spot off me." You've gone after Joshua, saying he's got no hunger anymore. You said about Fury how you'd have eaten that uppercut for breakfast. Are you enjoying this outside of the ring sort of stuff? Are you developing?
Yeah, I mean these are all fights that I'm ready for. I'm at that level now. I've got myself up to that level, so I want to fight these guys. So if they want it, I'm here, and I'll give it to them.
I think you've made that very, very clear. Frank, give us your final kind of thoughts heading into Saturday night, an important fight for Joe Joyce. Must win.
It's a must-win fight for him. You know, actually the pressure's on him because it is a must-win fight, and his position's at stake. And we've got some really good fights on the undercard as well. It's a cracking one there. I'm looking forward to the Cunningham and Setti fight. It'll be something special.